Obviously, on this podcast, I'm encouraging people to work out, to exercise. It's a personalized fitness podcast, dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness. Of course, I'm going to address exercise, but there is a time, there is a point, there is a phenomenon, if you will, that where that's not always recommended. And this podcast is actually tied to some others. I've talked about one of these subjects before, but do you know that there is a point we see a lot in exercises, especially in seniors, especially in the baby boomer generation, where their working out actually causes obesity? Today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Hey, good day and welcome to Personalized Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personalized Fitness. Thank you so much for joining me today, talking about when fitness, believe it or not, when fitness can cause obesity. Now that sounds strange. It's kind of a teaser. I've talked some about this subject before, but this is something extremely dangerous and something we see quite often. And you've probably got it. If you haven't seen it yourself, you've probably got it somewhere in your family. And something I really want you to look at, because in correcting this, which is a challenge, and it's not a challenge physically, it's a challenge mentally. But in correcting this, you could actually be saving somebody's life. That is not an exaggeration by any means. It is not an exaggeration. And we're talking about sarcopenic obesity being caused by overtraining and the thought process behind that. If you have any questions about this show or any other, or any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, you can reach out to me at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also contact me at Garrett, Garrett, at personalizedfitness.com. Personalizedfitness.com, of course, is our website. Personalized Fitness is our Facebook page. And hit me up on Twitter or X at Team PE. Love to respond to you. Any questions about this, and especially if you have any challenge about this, or more importantly, even if you never plan on being a client, if you just want some information of how to deal with this with yourself or maybe somebody in your family, be more than glad to talk to you about it. And don't forget, even if you don't train with us, even if you are training with us, you're most likely involved with Pledge. If you're not training with us, you're not even in this area, as long as you've got an internet connection, you can work with the most qualified staff in the Southeast through our app called Pledge, where goals meet accountability. We can coach you. We can track your program. We can actually send you workouts. We can track your nutrition. We can encourage you. You can be involved in different challenges that we have. We have several different levels, but all you have to do is get involved with us at Pledge, and you can reach me at any of those contact information or contact us through our website, and we can get you hooked up with Pledge, where goals meet accountability. Okay, here's what I'm talking about with the overtraining or fitness causing obesity. I've talked about this recently. In fact, I've got a slew of podcasts that I'm doing, and they're all kind of tied together. This is amazing because all of them most of them have their background in a lie that started in 1953, and that is the lipid hypothesis. You know, when we were told to hate food, we were told not to eat eggs, we were told not to eat dairy, we're not told not to eat red meat. And when that gets just beaten your brain for years and just blasted, even supported by the U.S. government, all over the place, it's hard to chisel it out of your head. And then when people come out and say, hey, by the way, we don't think that was true, and they're doing it real easy and putting it in an article in a magazine over here you won't hear about. Well, since it's been beating your head for so long, it's hard to get away from that. Also, when you're being told, okay, I've got my diet all messed up and I'm trying to do something about it, I'm not eating these things, and you're being told, what are you being told most of the time when you're addressing your diet, especially if you're dealing with having excess fat or being overweight, being out of shape? If you think about it, the majority of times, what do you hear from a health professional? And that is, cut back or cut out. Reduce calories, don't eat that food, stay away from that, intermittent fasting. Not that some of these techniques aren't good as far as like making some different choices. Now, I'm not talking about food choices. I'm talking about amount choices mostly. But when you get cut out, cut back, 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 what's now bad for you? I sat there and talked to a client of mine who was in her 70s. And she was giving me, I'm just not sure what to eat. And she started talking about, well, this is bad for you, and this is bad for you, and this is bad for you. And there was not a single food group that she listed that you could eat. She had found some reason you couldn't eat that. And we battled it. She was very thin, but she, believe it or not, I hate to tell you this, and I see this a lot in my seniors because they're the ones that have the experience with all this. They're the ones that lived during the time when the lipid hypothesis was invented and found out that red meat, quote unquote, was bad for you. It's not. That's a lie. Anybody telling you that is lying to you. They are a flat out liar. But they were beat over the head with all this. And so they cut back, restrict, cut back, restrict. And then look at the other side of their life. Especially baby boomers. And we see this in Gen X. We see this all in Gen Z and Gen Y. But we see this very prevalent in baby boomers because the other side of the health, fitness realm, or really everything in their lifestyle, was hard work. This was a silent generation. These are the ones that their parents were the silent generation. You don't rave about me, give the credit to somebody else, whatever. Just put your nose down and work hard. And the answer to a lot of their problems is work harder. I can't tell you how many clients I've had in the past where they can never retire because they know nothing but hard work. Their entire self-worth is tied up in their career or their job. And their answer to everything is when in doubt, work. My father was this way. When in doubt, work. The honorable thing to do is work. Had a chance to take a day off or you had a chance to work? Work. Okay, so what's that got to do with fitness? Well, think about it. If they're not getting the results they want, what do? They work harder. More training, more days, heavier weight, faster, stronger, whatever. I had a gentleman come in and start working with me. He'd survived a bout of cancer and he was coming back from it. And we were getting his strength up, and he finally looked at me and said, "You'll be so happy one day I'll be able to go around to all these machines every single day and work them just as hard." And I was shocked. I was floored. He was a physician, and he said that. I said, "Are you kidding me? The last thing I'd want you to do is come in and work hard on all these machines every day." Because what are you doing with fitness? And what has this got to do with causing obesity? And what's it got to do with being tied to that nutrition thing I said a minute ago? Well, first thing we got to look at what is fitness. What is exercise? What is rehab? Well, the body can heal itself. It's funny. I talk about that sometimes. And I have some podcasts coming up pretty soon. I'm actually doing it with an osteopath friend of mine. And we're talking about every aspect from when you cut yourself, how it heals, all the way to the internal organs, how they heal themselves. But it's funny when you tell people that the body can heal itself, they think it's kind of a holistic, let's chant and burn incense or whatever. No, you know this. It's why you put a Band-Aid on your arm. Cut your arm, put a Band-Aid on it, put some Neosporin on it if you want to help. If you left it alone, it would heal itself. Unless it's such a deep cut that you get infected or whatever. But it will heal itself. May have come out and scar, but it will heal itself. It will recover. That's what exercise is. Doctors know this. I mean, physical therapists definitely know it. They want you to go exercise, go rehab. What is exactly happening when you're doing that, doctor? Well, you're exercising and you're moving the muscle. What exactly is happening? What exactly is happening is you're tearing muscle fibers. If you got a shoulder and it starts to freeze up because you're leaving it still, you have to break it apart. Nope, wrong body. I got to be able to do this with my shoulder. Got to be able to move it up and down. Okay, well, let's repair it a different way. And what happens when you tear those muscle fibers is you're telling the body, wrong, do it again. And your body builds it back stronger. Why does it build it back stronger? Well, it's like a hurricane hitting my hometown. If I had a straw house and it blew away, I'm going to build a wood house. If it blew away again, I'm going to build a brick house. Build something stronger. That's exactly how your body reacts. This is everybody. You too. I hate when people tell me, well, my body doesn't do that. Well, it does. Remember, you're an individual just like everybody else. And so your body builds back stronger. Okay, so Gary, get back to this thing. Now, why am I causing obesity by doing that? Well, think about it. If I'm under-eating calories, not eating enough calories, first and foremost, you thought I was going to talk about protein. You thought I might be talking about water. Yeah, I am talking about water and protein. But first and foremost, got to have enough calories. Got to have enough calories. If you don't have enough calories, your body will burn every bit of the calories for energy, and then it will actually slow you down, make you tired. Zap your energy. Gosh, I'm just older and don't have any energy. Nope, you're not eating enough because it's going to take a little bit extra and try to store it because you are starving it. And you're in a famine situation. If you're in a famine situation in your home, you hoard food. Your body does the same thing. It hoards energy. It holds onto it. How does it hold onto it? It stores it as fat. And when you're in this scarcity situation, when you're in this starvation situation, when you're at this, let's say a hurricane's hit, the stores have been shut down, you're not out building new buildings. You may be repairing things, but you're not out going, okay, let's try to move this whole community forward by building something brand new. No, you're worried about repairing. You're worried about doing with as little as you, because if your resources are slim, trust me, you won't be repairing the outhouse. You may be trying to put a cover over your bed, but you're going to do the minimalist because you're going to try to hoard every single resource you have. This is what your body's doing. So your body's going through a systems contract all the time. It's doing systems check, all the time from the cradle to the grave. And it's checking what is damaged, what needs to be repaired, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be made stronger. It's doing that all the time. It's doing it right now. And if you've done a workout and you've damaged a muscle, you've worked a muscle, which is doing damage to the muscle, the body will look at that, that needs to be repaired. And it doesn't take a workout to do it. You can walk to your mailbox and back. You've torn small muscle fibers, and either just to maintain muscle or to build muscle, either one. Your body's going to do the system check, and it has to do those repairs daily, whether you do a full-blown workout or you just move a little bit. It is doing these repairs daily. And so what it's doing is when you're breaking down that muscle tissue, doing that work, it's going to look, do I have enough calories to have the energy? Do I have enough calories to be able to use it so I can repair this muscle on top of the daily activities I've got to make sure I have? And then after that, do I have enough protein? Or has this person been eating that healthy salad all the time with no protein on it? So if you don't have you may have the calories, but you don't have enough protein. Now you can't maintain the muscle. Your body can't even repair it. So if you've got somebody that all their life, when they think about diet and nutrition, they think about cut out, cut back, and they overtrain, work harder, work harder, work harder. Well, you're tearing down muscle tissue. And your body, if it's storing anything, is going to store body fat. There's two ways to make, there's probably more than two, but at least two ways to make your body fat percentage go up. And folks, it is based on a percentage. It's not based on pounds. You can be 100 pounds and be obese. How? If you're 100 pounds and you're a male, and 26 of those pounds are fat, that means you have a body fat of 26%, which is obese. If you're a female and you weigh 100 pounds and 30 of those pounds are fat, you are obese. Oh, yeah, but I'm a good obese. I'm still thin. I won't get all those things. Yes, you will. You have the same propensity for heart disease, for cancer, for dementia, for stroke, for liver function failure, for lung function failure. I can keep going with all the top 10 killers except for accidents. Kidney disease. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, all that. You have the propensity for all of that. You are as obese as, I may be a little flabby, but I'm not obese, and you point at somebody that's really, 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 really big. Well, guess what? You're as obese as that person is if they have the same body fat percentage as you do. Period. And how do you get that way? Cut out, cut back, overwork, overtrain. If you're overworking, overtraining, you're damaging muscle. Therefore, you're lowering the amount of muscle that you have. Which, whether or not your body keeps producing fat, as your muscle percentage goes down, that means its relationship to fat is less. So therefore, your body fat percentage, even though your body fat may not increase, your body fat percentage goes up. Here's what I mean. Go back to my 100-pound man that has 26 pounds of 26% body fat. He has 26 pounds of body fat. Let's say he has, I won't do these numbers, but let's say he only has like 23. And then he goes from 100 pounds down to 90 pounds. He loses 10 pounds, but all 10 pounds of those are muscle. Now look at, and did not add any fat whatsoever. But his percent of muscle mass went down. That means his percent of body fat went up. And this isn't just playing a numbers game. Oh, yeah, but he's thin. He's not really obese. Yeah, he is. This is why you can have a phenomenon when you have somebody that is really, 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 really thin, but they're on a cholesterol medication or they're on a blood pressure medication. And the doctor says, yeah, why am I on a blood pressure medication? I'm in shape. Look how thin I am. My BMI, a worthless number. Do not let anybody use BMI on you. BMI is the number of the fitness insane. It was made up by an astronomer. It is not a measurement of fitness. Throw it away. Never use it. Never pay any attention to it. And this is one of the big reasons why. Their BMI will be fantastic because their weight is great. They're real light. But they never measure their body fat. And this person that, look, I'm thin. I'm healthy. Everybody tells me how healthy I am. I go and I exercise all the time, whatever. But you're on a cholesterol medication. Or you're on a blood pressure medication. Why? Why, doctor? Why? Well, let me ask you, was your daddy on it? Was your mama on it? Well, it's just genetics. Well, guess what? Daddy, mama, granddaddy, they probably never had their body fat measured either. And I bet you an enormous sum of money that you go and measure the body fat on these individuals that are so thin and whatever, and they just have a blood pressure medication because of their genetics. You go measure their body fat, you're going to find out they have high body fat percentage and probably borderline obese, if not obese. I've done it. I've done it with countless individuals that are thin, they're healthy. The reason they're not strong is because they're older. Just time caused it. What exactly about time causes it? Well, we don't know. We just know that time causes it, which is a lie. But what they are is what is called sarcopenic obesity. And you can get that by either starving yourself because you're trying to lose weight. And what happens is they end up getting larger amounts of body fat. So when they grab their stomach, and maybe they don't have a whole lot of weight showing. Maybe they do have a pooch. They feel fat. They feel, okay, well, that got fat there. Therefore, I need to cut back and reduce. And actually what they're doing by doing this is they're causing themselves to be more fat. It's a vicious cycle. They start feeling that flabby feeling, whatever. They get more fat, therefore they cut back. And they feel more fat, so they cut back even more. Or they work harder. They're damaging more muscle. They're causing the problem. That's what makes people believe that lie that, oh, well, it's just, well, you know, your metabolism just slows as you age. That's a lie. It just happens when you get older. That's a lie. But this is how these people start to believe this, is because this vicious cycle, which is, I argue, started in the 1950s with the lipid hypothesis. This is actually causing damage and causing people to be obese, causing people to be out of shape. And it's causing your loved ones, especially your seniors. It's causing death. Death. I've talked about, I did a podcast on the number one killer. And I said of the top 10 killers, number one is listed as heart disease. Number two is listed as cancer. I think stroke is 3. I lose track after that. But you've got stroke, you've got lung function problems, you've got dementia, you've got accidents is in there. That's one that you got thrown out. But kidney problems, liver problems, and but you don't catch any of those. An accident, you catch a car, you die that way. But the rest of them, you don't catch lung disease. You develop lung disease. You develop cancer. You develop heart disease. You develop problems that lead to a stroke. And what is the number one risk factor? Number one risk factor, which are the causes. This is actually things that you do that makes those things come about. Number one risk factor is obesity. This is why you're losing your loved ones through sarcopenic obesity. This is why Dad he's older. He's just not that strong anymore because he's older. No, it's not. It's not. I guarantee you. Go look at his diet. Go look at his fitness routine. More importantly, far more importantly, just go have his body fat measured or her body fat measured. You will find your problem. But you've got to know how to address it. And too many health professionals, too many personal trainers don't know how to address this. They'll talk about eating good food, talking about you got to exercise harder. Or they'll do the most absurd thing, and that is take somebody that's older, and I'm going to train them like a senior. I'm going to have them sit in a chair, and I'm going to have them throw a ball back and forth. When they're able to stand up, sit down, they're able to walk, they're able to run, they're all able to lift heavy, whatever. And they're going to train them like a senior, because past a certain age, you train them to be old, to be decrepit. Well, we don't do that here. 35% of our clientele is over the age of 65. This is our bread and butter. As you see, I get very passionate about this because this makes me so mad when I see it, because it is correctable. It is easily correctable. But it takes changing not only the mindset of the individual that's afflicted, but also the mindset of all those around him, especially the health professionals, that are perpetuating this. And if you're using BMI, you're perpetuating it. I promise you, you're perpetuating it. If you're treating people with medication, they may need it. I'm not saying stop the blood pressure medication or whatever, but find out why. And genetics, I guarantee you, is not the reason. If I've offended you or offended somebody you know, or maybe you're seeing these challenges, maybe I'm finally breaking that thought process, that pattern of, yeah, well, when, my relative is older, they're just that way. Maybe I'm making you think about that a little bit. I would love to speak to you. Whether you work out with us or not, I'd love to speak with you and help you navigate this. I'm telling you, that makes my day. Whether I sign a client or not, that makes my day. If we can help you change that thought process, please reach out to us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also contact me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That obviously is our website, personaledgefitness.com, our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. And hit me up on Twitter or X at Team PE. Pardon me for getting so angry about this. Thank you to my friend Brian O'Donnell in Vistage, who calls it passion. It is a passion. But I'm doing this to try to help your loved ones. I'm doing this to try to save those over-exercisers, especially the seniors, but not just the seniors. We see this in a lot of runners too. But those that are over-exercising, that are overcompensating, that have fantastic discipline because they know how to restrict, they know how to work harder. We're trying to help them find some truth in all of this. Find what a real healthy body is. And try to help them reach their level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope to see you next time.